it is so you can start it. Okay, so हम लोग कोडिंग के लिए गूगल कोलैब यूज करेंगे. So yeah, so this is what I was saying. If you open a file, it opens Jupyter notebook. In Jupyter notebook, there are two cells. Basically, they are horizontal cells. One could be of type code, wherein you can type your Python code and execute. The other could be your text, and mostly text is essentially you can format it by changing the font size and things like that. Okay, so this is all about your Colab. So we'll go to Colab quickly. If you open that GitHub repository, you will see something like this. Two files, 01, 02. So I hope everyone has opened this. So if you open 01 file, you should see something like this on top of it, open in Colab. So it may take some time for people, but this has to be done only once. So it is going to set up your environment and all credentials, those things will happen. So if you open this, click this open in Colab, it will actually go and open in Colab. So first thing, you should see something like this, authorized with GitHub. In case it is not happening in your case, you can download that file and then open Colab, and from there you can upload your file. You can see something like this here, run cell, and it says control plus enter. So if you want to run through keyboard, you have to press control plus enter, or else through mouse you just press on this. Okay, so it will say like something warning, say run anyways. Okay, so you can see on the top right corner it is saying connecting. So you see basically it is a server. Okay, so it is actually connecting to your hardware, and now it is saying it is connected, and now it's showing what is RAM and what is disk. So essentially it has connected to hardware, and now it is done the execution part. And you can see 5 here. So this is the very you can say the primary example where you use Python as a calculator, meaning you are simply do some operation on numbers like plus minus. So if you want to add two numbers, for example 2 plus 3, so what you have to do, you have to write first number followed by plus, then followed by 3. There you can see there is a space in between. This space is not compulsory. However, for the readability purpose, it is recommended that you maintain a space in between signs and equal signs and operations, so it looks good. Okay. uh, Now suppose you want to do subtraction, meaning you want to subtract one number from the other. So you have to write the first number followed by minus sign, and then the other number. So if you run this, you will see the outcome. So you can see like Python is behaving exactly like a calculator. So in the calculator also we do exactly the same thing. So suppose you want to divide two numbers, for example 9 divided by 2. So for those people who have some background in other computer programming languages, you can see this is integer and this is also integer. If you do something on integer, the outcome will be integer. However, in this case, it doesn't actually uh, care for this what was the initial value, but it cares for what was the answer, and then you can see it has put 4.9, which is a 4. So Python understand numbers, Python, and accordingly it creates object for that, and also it understands the outcome, and accordingly, if possible, it changes the type. So this is kind of intelligence is there within Python. So many things it will do by itself. You don't actually have to explicitly define it. Then if you want to multiply those two numbers, for example, you want to multiply 4 with 6, then again the outcome is 2.4. So I have used all integer values here, but if you want to try with some float values, so you don't have to worry like first one was integer, second one was float, then how it will happen. It happens. It takes care of that. So essentially, Python has got inbuilt functionality to handle all those things. Then suppose you want to do some floor division. In the sense, you want to divide numbers and you want to see what is the integer value for that. You don't want to see the fractional value. So you just supply two slashes, forward slashes. This does the job. And accordingly, if you want to calculate what is the remainder of some division, you can type percentage in between two numbers. So 7 divided by 2 will have remainder of 1. If you divide this by 3, so we know that remainder will be uh, 2 again 1. So suppose if this number is say 13 and you are divided by 3, so then again we'll have remainder of 1. Okay. Suppose if you are having 4, again the remainder will be 1. So like that. If you divide it by 5, so yeah, now it is 3. So we understand like how it works. So if you divide 13 by 5, it will be 5 into 2 is equal to 10, and then 3 will be the remainder. So this remainder operation, floor division, multiplication, and normal calculator functions that we have, we can do like this. Now suppose you do some crazy thing, okay, because whatever we have done till now is we knew what is the syntax, and then because I knew, I typed in a very proper way, and obviously then if you do everything right, then the answer will be right. But as a learner, we do not know what is the right, because if you know the what is right, then we are not learner, we are expert. So essentially, while doing some things, when we do not understand things completely, we do crazy stuff. So if you start doing some crazy thing, so then you will see something different from Python. So for example, if you are doing 2 plus 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 4, but answer is still 6. Why? So what happens if you put more signs in between? It actually understand mathematics and also understand if you are having two signs in between. It means mathematically that you are actually having a multiplication in between. So if you multiply plus sign with plus sign, it will become plus sign and then again plus sign. So basically, this three plus sign together actually means only one plus sign. So if you add some more plus sign, it actually understands. Okay. So suppose you are having plus sign and again minus sign, and then again you are doing crazy stuff. So it understands that mathematics. If you are having plus and there is a minus, so it means multiplied in between. So plus minus multiplied by minus is equal to minus. So effectively, these two signs together means minus only. So if you do the run it, you will see that okay, this means 6 minus 2. And suppose if you are still crazy and want to put some more signs there. Uh, Plus is actually minus, and then multiplied by minus is totally minus. So actually it does 8 minus 2. Uh, so minus multiplied by minus equal to plus. So 8 plus 2 equal to 10. Okay. So essentially it has taken care of those basic mathematics, and then even if you are doing crazy stuff, it does the right thing. Okay. So the last thing is basically power. So in Python, if you want to do power, what you have to do, you have to put two stars. So you would be like aware in suppose Excel we use this cap function. So suppose you have 2 power 2, so you will put cap. But in Python we do not put cap. Okay. And in other languages you will have functions like POW, power function. But in Python, if you want to do power, what you have to do? You have to do two asterisks. So one asterisk means multiply. If you have two asterisks, it means power. Okay. So if you run this, so it gives you 8 into 8, meaning 8 multiplied by 8, that is power 2, and the answer is 64. So up till now, we have not actually made anything which is problematic as far as Python goes. But if you again start doing some more crazy stuff, then let's see what happens. So if you are having this only plus sign, okay, so we have this number 2, and then you just forget like what to put after that, okay, and then you say like you want Python to do something, okay, so then you will see syntax error, okay. And if you are a developer, you are using Python, this is something you are going to see a number of times. The very first thing you'll see will be this syntax error, meaning we are typing something which is not as per the Python syntax. So it will get angry, and when it gets angry, it says like this, something followed by error. Okay, so it says it is invalid syntax. Then you see there is something called line 2. So this cell in which you are typing, the first line is a comment. So anything that starts with hash is comment, meaning Python will not read this one. It is for us, for the programmer, for human being to read what is written, but Python is not going to read it. Python is going to read this, but it understands the line. Even if it doesn't not read this, but it understands that this was the first line and it was a comment. But the second line was not a comment. It was something which Python cannot understand what was written. So syntax error. Okay. If you are in Colab, then you can see search stack overflow. So this is another cool stuff, meaning you are doing something and then you got some error, but now you got stuck. You don't know what is this invalid syntax. How to know that what is invalid? So then you simply click here. It will go to your uh, Stack Overflow search, and there someone smarter than us would have already got this problem and had answer to this. And then this guy was generous enough. He spent some time and wrote that answer on Stack Overflow, so that now if you go there, you will find the ready answer. Okay, so this is one error. Now suppose if you make similar error like with negative sign, we are going to see same thing. Again, we are still crazy. So if you are putting again minus plus and blah blah, but you are not putting other number here. So again syntax error. Okay. So essentially, until unless you provide right syntax, Python is going to throw you these errors. Okay. And then once you see them, then our job is to understand like what was wrong. So if you see this, then it simply says there should be a number followed by these signs and then other number. In this case, you can have at least one slash, or you can have two. Okay, so first mean division, and second, if you have two together, it means floor division. But if you are putting three, there is no such thing in Python. Okay, so then obviously it is going to get angry and throw the syntax error. One more thing that you can see, we are in Jupyter Notebook. So Jupyter Notebook, it also to some level it understands the syntax. Okay, so if you see, it has actually already put this red line below that, meaning it doesn't understand. And other thing, like you can see the color. So this color is black and this color is green. So meaning having one slash is okay, but having three is not okay. So suppose if I make it two, okay. So again, there is something it doesn't understand, but from the syntax point of view, this is okay. Okay. So essentially, what I'm trying to say, our Jupyter Notebook, it helps to some extent, and then rest of the thing you get from the Python itself. So suppose you are using only pure notepad, so it doesn't understand what is Python. So everything will be in black color. But if you are using some advanced environment like PyCharm, for example, I use this VS Code, Sublime Text. So if you are having a Python environment installed into it, then it will understand the syntax and help you while you are actually typing. So that way we know uh, upfront that it is going to create problems. So fix it then and there before even executing the code. So okay. So these are the kind of thing that is associated with our simple operations. So you can understand, like, even if our simple thing, if you make mistake, it is going to give error. uh, as you go and make your code more complicated, the chances of and places of error will increase, and you have to fix all of them. So as we understand, like, knowing something is good, knowing what to do, and knowing what not to do is more good. In the sense, if you don't know what not to do, you will get into trouble. So syntax is something we need to know, and this error is something we need to know, and the syntax is for basically do's that we need to do, and this is something we don't do. Okay, so understand what not to be done and understand what to be done. Both are important. Then we have this something called indentation error. So what is indentation? So you can see, as I said, in Python, we do not use any parentheses, okay, for creating blocks. So what happens? It starts from the left side, okay. So from the leftmost location, from the starting from the top. So it will start there. So the top and coming down is basically line number, and in a given line, it starts from the leftmost position. So that is basically first character it is going to look for. Okay. And if you are having space there, so Python has got very special meaning with space. Okay. So first line cannot start with space. It is not allowed. Space is allowed if your previous line is having end with colon. So any line which ends with colon, then you have to put space in the next line. If it is not ending with colon, then you cannot put space. Okay, and so on. So if you are having nested loops and all, and you are having so many colons, to differentiate between one block with other block, you have to supply space. So common practice, you can have any as many space as you want. You can have one space, two space, three space, as much as you want. But for the readability and you can say common practice, people use one tab. So one tab is generally equal to four spaces. So if you are having four spaces or one tab, they are equivalent. So for example, if someone want to use tab and someone other person want to use spaces, the only thing that he has to do is to convert tabs into spaces. Look wise, they remain the same. So then it is not disturbed. Code is not disturbed. So we generally follow the same practice. So here also we'll follow the same practice. So what we have to do is we don't to actually it is uh, Jupyter notebook and good editors. Once they see there is a colon, so next line they actually provide you tab. Okay, and they also take care of this. If you are having press tab or spaces, they will take care of it. So they are smart enough to understand you are typing Python, and then in Python indentation is important, they will take care of it. So we don't need to worry about that. So suppose if you provide space in the very first line, you will see this indentation error. And whenever you see this error, it will actually put you this you can say pointer here saying there is a problem here, an unexpected indent. So what you have to do is you have to go there, that line, and fix the indent. If you fix them, then you will see that okay, yeah, it is right now. Then mathematically we actually do some mistakes. For example, this divide by zero. So many of you will think like why someone is going to divide by zero. So on the prima facie, it looks uh, ridiculous. Like why someone is going to divide by. But what happens? You do the division not with numbers. You do division with your variables, and variable they actually change. The values of the variable changes as you execute the code in different scenario. It so happens uh, it becomes zero. Okay, and you are not aware that there are situations where your variable value the dividend is going to become zero, and as a result it is going to throw you this division by zero error. Okay, so if that happens, basically you have to take care of your variable in such a way that in a given scenario where the code is going to be used, never ever the dividend should be zero. Okay, so this you have to take care of it. As I said, numerically if you do, you will not ever commit this mistake. But if it happens within the code, it actually happens. huge codes, big softwares, they if it is not handled properly, then it may create issues. So later on in this course, we'll also see like how to handle errors, whatever we are seeing in this as an outcome. However, in the beginning, we are not going to handle errors. We are actually going to see like in which situation the error comes and how to handle them, basically how to remove the error. Because this is the only way where we can learn from Python. So basically this way Python is teaching you what to do and what not to do. So if you learn Python from Python, that is the ideal way. Okay, you don't need to go anywhere for learning Python. So Python itself is actually teaching you. Okay, so as I see that we have indent here and then there is a division by 0. Okay, so suppose if you commit two mistakes together, so see what happens. So there is a division by 0 error and there is a indent error. Both of them are there. But it is saying indentation error. What about 0 error? That is not there. So does it mean that 0 error is not there? So the answer is no, 0 error is still there. But there is a preference to the error. So this indentation is actually connected to syntax. It's not about the value of the operation. So then syntax should be tested first. So what it does when you run this Python, it is actually first testing the syntax. If the syntax is right, then it will go for evaluation. So if you fix the syntax, meaning you remove the indentation, then yeah, again, division by 0 error is there. Okay. So we have seen like different operations in Python, like a calculator, and also associated errors that we can commit while doing this calculation. Now we are going to over level down. We are going to see like different data types in Python. Okay. So we are almost 12 minutes are remaining. Uh, huh? For the break. So let me complete this in 5 minutes, and then we'll take questions if there are any, or something someone has got a step in the initial step also that will handle right now. So what are the data types in Python? So we have seen like we have typed some number and then put some operations. So some of them were of integer types. So we know that what is integer, like in the sixth standard we have seen like what is called integer, what is real number, and then number lines and things like that, natural numbers. Those things we have seen. So essentially integer here is same as what we have learned. Only difference is since computer is a physical device, nothing can be infinite here. So basically, there is an upper limit and lower limit for integers, which is generally kept very huge number. For any practical purposes, that number actually will be more than sufficient to handle. However, in theory, we understand that we have learned minus infinitive to plus infinitive, but that is not the case in any programming language, because computer anyways is a physical device. It has got limits. So integer means 1, 10, 100, 23, and things like that. Similarly, if you are having number with decimal part as well. So there is an integer part and this is a decimal part. So if you are having decimal part along with the integer part or only decimal part, then these numbers are called float numbers. So suppose you are having 1.234, this is a float. And if you are having this number, it is again float. So suppose if I run this and see like what happens. So first two number is okay, meaning Python is okay with this number. However, Python is not okay with this number. So it looks similar to some IP address or something, meaning you have put this dots 3 times. Okay. Suppose you are having that 2 times. Again, Python is not happy because it doesn't understand what is this. If you are having one dot, then it is the number. If you are having two dot, then it doesn't understand what is this. So then here is the data type, meaning if you are to type something in Python, what will be the way to type it? Okay, so the way you type this actually then it becomes the data type of that particular uh, uh, syntax that you have typed it. And Python understands this automatically. You don't have to say that one is integer. Python understands, okay, one is integer, like that. But Python is not able to understand what is this. So it has thrown error. Okay. So anything which Python doesn't understand, it is going to throw error. That we are going to see number of times. So then we have complex numbers. So we have seen like in complex numbers, uh, there will be real part and there will be imaginary part, and there will be some sign in between. The sign is either plus or minus, and then this number sign can be here also, meaning the real part can be positive and negative, and real imaginary part can also be positive or negative. So in a school, we have seen like our imaginary number used to be something like this, 3 + 4i. But Python doesn't understand I as a imaginary part. It understands j as a imaginary part. Okay. So we have to supply j. So if you say j, then it understands. But if you say I, it doesn't understand. So there is a little difference from what we learned from in the school and what is Python understands. So that mapping we have to say uh, clear in our minds. Like instead of I, we need to say j in order to write a complex number. The rest is exactly the same. It understands it's a complex number. Okay. Then Boolean operator, basically true false conditions where something is becoming true, something is becoming false. You can see this is blue color. But if you change the basically this one syntax, the way we write it, the first letter has to be capital, the other should be small. So if you change this, meaning you make the first letter small, then this is not the valid type. Okay, so it doesn't understand that. Okay, so then it is saying true. Name true is not defined. Okay, so there earlier we have seen syntax issue was there. It doesn't understand the syntax. Here it is saying name is not defined. So we will see like what is the difference between name and syntax later on. And if you say something, then where Python is going to search for it. Okay, so what are the valid names and things like that, that we will see later. So first the here, but what we have to understand, this name true, Python doesn't understand actually. So it means this one only. So if you make this is small, again same issue, it doesn't understand. So yeah. So if we comment everything, so again if you want to like you are want to make it fancy, everything capital, again it doesn't like it. So yes, it's very sensitive to syntax. It likes only this much. First has to be capital and then other should be small. Okay. Then only it will say yes, I am okay. Otherwise it is not okay. Then one more thing, if you are having a string, so a string is again one type that basically we communicate to from real world to the computer world. So these data types are basically placeholders to take real world thing and put into computer world. And these are the ways to communicate with computer. And different programming languages, they allow different ways. In Python, we are seeing this data type. Okay. So essentially, we have to follow like every other thing. You have to follow very strict syntactical requirement here also. Again, same thing. Name I is not defined. So you have to drop this. So suppose you are having something within one code or something in within three codes. So you can see this single quote and double quote we are having. Okay. So you can see just before enter button, you can see this button is there. So double quote and single quote, that button is there. So you can have single quote or 3 times single quote together. So you can define a string like this, or else you can have double quote and 3 times double quote. These two methods are actually allowed to define any string. And there is a small difference between these two, single and three times, that we will see later on what it is. Okay. Then we have sequence type, range, tuple, and other things. We'll see after the break. So let us take the break. It is already 11:25. Is there any question? You can take right.
Sir, can you explain the last topic string also?
Which one? Which one? I
String
didn't
one.
get.
Sir, string one.
Ha, string. So basically, suppose if I write this hi, okay. it says name error. Okay, meaning it doesn't understand what it is. This high. However, if I put this thing within quote, okay, then Python is okay. Python is okay, and there is no issue. Okay, so basically anything within the single quote is called a string, and Python is actually okay with this. It understands this is a string,
Sir,
and it can
sir means the number of the apostrophes doesn't matter in this.
number of this
Yes, sir. Raised commas.
Quotes,
ah,
sir, the number of quotes, 1 or 3 is allowed. He said already.
yes, it is a specific meaning 1 or 3. You cannot have as many number. So if you are making as many number of quotes, it is going to understand either 1 or 3 together. Okay, or else if you are having nothing in between, that is called an empty string. So if you put so many like this, so it is going to understand in pairs, meaning this is first string, empty string, and then and so on and so forth. Okay, so it will parse that thing and then understand like that. So if you are not having proper pairs, then it's going to throw error. You got it, right? So it understands as this as an empty string, and then it will make a pair out of it. If the pair is fitting into that criteria, then Python is okay. If it is not fitting, then Python is not okay. So see, there is no error here. I've just put this single quotes. Okay, and similar is true for double quotes. Basically, they are only these are two different ways to do the same thing, and Python does not differentiate in between. And many times it becomes very handy. For example, if you are handling some text and you want to put some double quote between single quote, then this becomes very handy in the sense. Suppose I have single quote, and within that I have two quotes, and then say hi. So see what happens. See, so
And
basically double quote along with hi is treated as a string. So that way it becomes very handy. You don't need to worry about this,
So,
especially if you are handling text. Yeah.
yeah. So I was trying to understand what is the difference. Like, if we use one single quotes and we use three, so it's giving the same results, right? Then why we would use the three quotes or like three double quotes?
Got it. Good.
Now, one more thing I want to add up. So, what is the real use case? Could you give some real example in what are the scenarios actually we can use the single quotes more than one single quote and more than one double quotes? Then it will be good.
So basically we are just beginning it. Okay, and I wanted to introduce these things. Okay, this is just for introduction. We are going to have at least more than half an hour session only on string. So there we'll see so many other things.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Sir, can you
And more-
explain how can we set up?
this
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, I'm asking, can you please share how can we set up this Python page?
Python page.
Yeah. So
You are talking
actually,
about
I joined
Colab.
late.
Acha, okay. So yes. So someone asked this like if you are what is the useful tree? You can say like very first cut understanding of these two things. What is the difference? I'll just quickly show. So suppose you are having three codes, okay, and in between you are having something, okay. So you can write like any normal text you write, okay. Just put three quotes before and after, okay. So if you run it, then you can see like /n hi /n there /n, meaning what has happened, like after three there is a /n means new line, so new 9 character is added, then text is added and so on. But suppose if I do the same thing with this one, okay.
Possible that we can without the app we can do it in Chrome only Python.
Okay, so you can see like there is a error. So if you are having single quote, you can have only one line. If you have three quotes, you can have any 9 lines. So then it takes care of this line change and everything. Okay. And about single double quotes and other thing, as I said, like we'll have a detailed session on this string operation. So So we'll see a lot more details there. Okay.
Yeah,
Then there was a question like how to set up. Yeah.
Sir, is it possible that Python we can do it in Chrome instead of the app?
I think you can do in Chrome. See, there is a Python plugin. Just plug in there and just type it. That's it. See.
Sir, can we change the strings once we have created it?
So we'll come to that. Like until unless you have defined a string as a variable, changing string means basically it becomes another string. So if you assign it to some variable and then want to change the value of that variable, yes, you can do that.
Rishad bhai, do we have
Thank you, sir.
typecasting in this? Python typecasting in the Python?
Yeah, so typecasting in very special cases you have to do manually. For example, if you are moving from a string to numbers and numbers to string, but if it is only integer to float, you don't need to worry, it will happen automatically.
Okay.
Hello, Dilshad Khan.
Yes.
Muhammad Sharif this side. Actually, please tell me some use cases of Pythons. I mean, in which kind of project we should use Python instead of PHP or say React or Node. Some specialty about Python, in which field that is best suited. Some kind of project.
Correct. So we have one presentation, a complete one presentation on this, like where all we can use Python and where today, which companies and what are the areas of engineering where we are using Python. So one complete presentation we are having on that topic. So hold on, we are having 8 sessions. Okay. So
Yeah, yes. The first point is that where we can use this. We are learning what is the use cases. Yeah, this is important.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Dilshad bhai, can you share the link for the plugins? Dilshad bhai.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, for typing the code. Yeah.
Just this Chrome extension type Python. That's it.
Yeah.
If you go here.
Hello, Dilshad. Can you hear me?
Sorry.
Yeah, Rehan this side. I just have a doubt with regards to the data types here. I want to know if Python supports the dictionaries data type.
So this we are going to see after this break.
Oh, okay. Understood. Thank you.
Those are derived data types, customs or
my request would be like for anything you feel like we should have in future, type in the message, we'll read and try to arrange that. Try to restrict your question on what we have just learned. So then it will be benefit for other people also. And other thing, just type in, we'll look at it and plan. If it is not in the plan, we'll plan it. Okay, that will be good.
So while you are editing this, does it become inaccessible to others? Like in GitHub, I could open this notepad notebook earlier, but right now I can't. It says I check if I have the correct permission.
No issues, you can download it. Okay, so suppose if you are not able to directly use it, you just go here and then say, download zip. So everything, whatever is there, it is in your machine now. And then
all right.
Okay, so it is there in your machine. Let me keep it at this one. And then if you go to your Colab, okay. Here. Okay, so if you go to file and say one second, upload notebook. Okay, so whatever you have downloaded, just upload it here. It is there. It will be there.
All right. All right.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.